Hello there carpologists, I'm Joe, and today you join me on a beautiful water near Cirencester. I'm going to be doing the night and through until probably about tomorrow afternoon with Ed Betteridge, who is just down the bank from me. Now we've just filmed another video which has already been uploaded. If you go back and watch it, it was a casting tutorial. We've been using the Graze Accelerate carp rods, and I'm not the best distance caster, so we went through a few tips and tricks on how to improve my casting. Before, my best cast was about 110 yards. Straight away I cast 125 yards with this setup, and we got that up to hitting the clip quite well at 150 yards, so quite a big improvement. If you want to see that, do go back and watch it. But for now, we're going to put those rods to the test and actually try and catch some fish on them. So as I said, beautiful water behind me, some nice fish in here. We're here until tomorrow. Here's Ed's dog. Let's get the rods out and hopefully have some fish. Well, it's all been a bit of a rush the last couple of hours. We finally got the rods out, and it's been quite a busy day really, hasn't it?
It has, yeah. I must admit I haven't done any distance casting really for a few months, and you start to feel it when you're whacking a lead to the horizon.
Definitely, and I've never cast those sort of distances before, so it's a new experience for me, but it's much appreciated helping me out with that. As I said, that was on the previous video. We're now fishing the same lake and the rods are out, but it's been a beautiful autumnal sunset, and we're just waiting for the fish now really, aren't we?
Yeah, I can't believe it, you know, we've just seen a load of fish right in the shallows. It's probably about 4 or 5 foot deep, and they're still in there now. They're even crashing just across there, so God knows, this time of year, middle of October, you'd think they'd be in the deeper water, 12, 13 foot. But
it's been quite mild today, I think, and it's still going to be sort of low teens throughout the night, so it's not dropping off as much as it has done recently.
No.
But hopefully, well, I don't know the lake, but we're hoping that they're going to move round from the shallows, so there's like a channel.
I think so. I mean, I've fished it a few times before in the past, and when they've been in the shallows down there, they've tended to drift back up this way out into the deeper water, so I'm just hoping they do the same, and yeah, we might catch a few, you never know. Definitely.
I'll be happy with anything, but just not a cray. There's quite a few crayfish in here.
Yeah.
But I think we're going to sit back, enjoy the rest of the evening. The sun's just set, as I said. It's a beautiful still evening, and if we don't have anything in the night, we'll see you in the morning, but hopefully we will.
Well, it's morning time, it's probably an hour or so after dawn. The casting session went well yesterday, but the fishing isn't going great. We found a load of fish yesterday in the shallows up there, and we debated whether to drop on them or not, but we sort of reasoned it's middle of October now, it's dropping cold at night, and it was chilly last night, that we thought the fish would push out a little bit. You know, I've fished here a couple of times before, and they've always sort of pushed out of the shallows at night. So we've dropped in on the side of the shallows. Well, I'm just on the edge of them where it sort of drops off, and Joe's just next to me in the slightly deeper water. And you know, before we went to bed last night, we could hear the fish getting closer and closer, and they was pushing down the margin towards the deeper water, and I thought it was going to push out in front of us. I managed to get a bite this morning just before dawn, but it fell off right at the net, which was an absolute gutter when you want one for the camera. So we're debating what to do now. We've got the baited areas out. I've put the rod back out again that I had the bite on, put a bit more bait over it, and I think what we're going to do is we're going to give it another hour and a half, see if anything happens on the baited area. If not, we're going to go across on the shallows. We've seen a couple there this morning, which has surprised me with how cold it was last night. I didn't think they'd be in sort of 3, 4, 5 foot of water, you know, with temperatures dropping down to single figures, but it seems that they're across there now, or there's certainly a few across there. So like I say, we're going to give it an hour and a half, see what happens. If not, we're going around into the shallow weedy water and see if we can sneak one.
Okay, so we're all packed up, and as I'd said previously, we're going to give it a few more hours here and see what happened. Absolutely nothing did happen. However, the fish have continued to show over in the shallow end, despite it being October and quite chilly. That seems to be where they're enjoying to be. So we've brought the rods in, changing tactics a bit. Because it's quite heavily weedy over there, I've put all 3 rods onto chod rigs. I'm going to go around, try and find some clearer spots, but it's clear the fish are over there, so if we both go over there and tackle it in the same sort of way, I'm sure 1 or 2 fish will slip up. That's the plan. It's also on the back of the wind. As you can see, the wind's picked up. It's quite a nice day, but the wind's hacking up that end now, so we're going to be fishing on the back of the wind in the shallow area, and hopefully it will pay off and we'll have a productive end of the morning and into the afternoon.
Right, we've just moved around to the shallows. I can see there's still quite a few fish here, the bow waving under the surface. Just had a couple of quick casts. It's not really clean out there, but I've managed to get a drop somewhere and an inch or 2 pullback. I don't cast around anymore because we're actually on fishing and we want a quick bite. So I'm just going to get 3 rods out here quite quickly. I'm going to fish one on the bottom and probably just fling a couple of chods out onto showing fish, and let's see if we can nick one before it's time to go.
Well, here's the swim I'm going to be in for the day. Ed is just next door. He's got all 3 of his rods out. Slightly different tactics on each just to see which one works. I'm putting all my eggs in one basket. It's quite a lot of weed out here. I'm quite confident in using chod rigs. I've done that a lot in the past, so I've got all 3 rods are going out on chod. So I've got slightly different baits on each, and we're just going to try and find some fish and pick one off because they've been heavily feeding and moving about over here, as we keep saying. So it seems our best chance of getting a fish today is going to be in this area. So get each of the rods out, which I've already got set up, flick them out and try and find some clearer spots and hope that we can pick up a fish. Well, unfortunately, the session is drawing to a close. We thought we'd pick up a fish or 2 coming over this direction, but it just hasn't paid off for us, has it, really?
No, not at all.
There
was a lot of fish here when we turned up, weren't they? I managed to get 3 rods out. There was still a few fish kicking around, and then a swan came through and picked up one of my rods and just wiped out all 3. And
yeah,
all the disturbance and having to return them all just completely did both our chances, I think, really.
Definitely. So I think in hindsight, if we'd turned out with really light sort of choddy setups and just flicked out and left them, then maybe it would have worked. But
yeah,
you never know these things until you've done it and you learn from it. But they simply aren't here anymore. Before, they were showing constantly along these margins. The last 2 days since we've been here, they've pushed out probably 100+ yards.
Yeah,
so
the only ones I'm seeing sort of nutting out now and just breaking the surface are about 100 yards out.
Yeah.
Again, about half an hour ago, I brought this one in and flicked it out about 100, and he's pushed them back even further. I've not seen a fish since. So
yeah.
I think they're just being very, very cagey at the minute, and every time we cast at them, it just pushes them back just that little bit further. So we've tried our best, but it wasn't to be this session. You know,
That's the way it goes, really, as well.
It is, yeah. And I honestly didn't think this morning when I lost that one that would be the end of it. I just thought that would be the start, and we'd get a few as they moved in. But
yeah,
that's fishing, isn't it?
Yeah, it definitely is. So unfortunately, we didn't catch, but like I said, this is the third part of the whole series. So I've talked to you about the rods in the previous video, Ed, which was yesterday. Ed helped me practice my casting, and I hit 150 yards with ease. Well, at least on one of the casts. So it's not been a complete fail of a session. I've learned some things, and I've enjoyed being out using them. But obviously, these rods you've been using a lot longer than just the session I've been using them with.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I mean these are the production rods. I've been testing the prototypes now for well over a year, really, and I've caught a good number of fish on them.
Yeah.
You know, tested them in extreme range, tested them hooking fish in the margins, tested them using braid, and it's ticked all the boxes in all the circumstances that I've been fishing.
Yeah.
I love them. I think they're great rods. You know,
and you've
really
been using the 13 foots, haven't you?
Yeah, I tend to use 13 foots for all my fishing. You know, because if I want to go extreme range, I can go extreme range. And when I find myself fishing in the margins, quite often I'm fishing a weedy water with big fish in it, and sometimes snaggy. So you need that extra bit of backbone just to, you know, bring the fish in and draw them away from the weed, draw them away from the snags. So for me, I like the 3.5 tests for all my fishing. You know, if I was to go onto a water that was completely clear of weed and fishing for doubles, I'd probably step down a little bit. I'd probably go down to the 3 pound test. But you know, the 13 foot 3.5 suit all my fishing. They're a great all round rod.
Yeah. Well, it's a shame I didn't get to use them for planer fish, but just for my casting and just generally feeling about, they were nice to use. So if you're interested in these rods, please do visit the Grades website for all the information you need, or also look at the previous videos I've done on them. That's it from me and Ed, so thank you very much for joining me and helping me cast yesterday. It's a shame we didn't catch, but it's the way it goes.
Maybe next time.
Yeah, very much so, hopefully. And if you want to see more, please make sure you're subscribed. I've also been doing a lot of updates on the Instagram while I've been here. Whenever I do these sort of sessions, there's extra updates on there. So do make sure you follow Carpology on there, and Ed Betteridge, I think you've got yours on Instagram.
Instagram, Twitter and Facebook, yeah.
So follow everything on there. Cheers for watching, and I'll see you again soon.